It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
You can hear me fine, right?
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Lake Forest Foster's assistant men's ice hockey coach, Coach Sam Del Vescovo. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Brandon. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college men's ice hockey?
Yeah, it's actually kind of a funny story, I guess. So I graduated college with my undergrad in like 2020 when the world was all crazy and everything, and I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. And I started coaching junior hockey with the Milwaukee Power, and I fell in love with coaching and still having that competitive edge and still having that drive to want to win. And I knew from that moment on that I wanted to coach at the college level. And it took a few years to get there, but I'm there now, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I love my job and I love what I do.
What was that experience like going to Indiana Tech and getting to play collegiate ice hockey there?
Yeah, it was great. So I was one of those kids growing up who, until I got to high school, I was kind of a late bloomer. So my coaches kind of didn't believe me when I would tell them I was going to play college hockey. And so once I got to high school, um, I started to, kind of believe what they were telling me and saying, all right, I'm just going to go to college and whatnot. And my senior year of college comes, and Indiana Tech was kind of one of the first schools that started to talk to me. It was a newer program. Um, I came in their second year, and um, yeah, I wouldn't have had it any other way. Our team, our team was like a family. It was, home away from home. Um, Going to school, being 18, I was one of those kids that didn't play juniors, so I was kind of not not in the majority of my teammates, and so being away from home for the first time, it was nice to have that family mentality with my teammates.
Of course, what was that experience like being a part of the freshly new Indiana Tech at that time?
Yeah, it was great. We were able to, our team was able to kind of create the culture that is now a very good ACHA program, one of the top teams in the country every year. And, I played on the D3 team, but we, I remember I think it was my junior year or my sophomore year, one of the two. We made a national tournament appearance. We made it to regionals, and we were the first one in the program's history. And then a few years later, our ACHA team won the national championship, and so we were kind of able to create that culture of winning. And I got to see some of my best friends win a national title, and that was great.
While at Indiana Tech, what was that experience like getting to put on that ice hockey jersey?
I loved it. Right. I like I said, I was one of those kids who looked at as I wasn't gonna play, and so being able to put on that jersey for the first time, to prove all the people that told me I wasn't gonna do it wrong, to realize how proud I made my family. Um, you know, it was a fantastic feeling. Um, and if I could do it all over again, I would go back and do it the exact same way in a heartbeat.
How was that experience like coming out of college and getting into coaching and going to the Milwaukee Power?
Yeah, like I said, it was great. It gave me the uh the experience to get to where I am now in terms of I had a little bit of everything, the shooting, running the defense like I did. Um, So it was amazing, and I'm glad that that's where I got my feet wet. We had really good ownership who supported us, and who I worked with. All three of the coaches now are actually coaching at the college level. Um, Two of them I coach again every year. Um, and yeah, it was a great experience.
While with the Milwaukee Power, what were some of the things that you were able to accomplish as an assistant coach?
Um, so at the junior level as an assistant coach, like you have a lot of hands-on in terms of recruiting. Um, and doing a lot of skills work with the defense because that's the main area that you run. Um, so one of the biggest accomplishments I have was helping um what was when it was like 13 guys advance to either tier two juniors or on to college hockey, and that was something that I take pretty good pride in. Um, One of the kids plays in our conference now. And when we played against him, it was actually kind of cool. Um, he saw me in the handshake line and he just got a huge smile on his face. And so seeing him was actually really kind of cool, and getting to connect with him again was good.
For you as a coach, what was that experience like going to Marquette and getting to become the head coach there?
Yeah, it was interesting, right? So you go from being an assistant coach at the junior level to now you're a head coach at for college kids who at the time I was 24, 25, I think. So you're now coaching kids who you're only a couple years older than them. Um, I feel it was a great learning experience. It was a club team, so it was there was some speed bumps occasionally, obviously being a new head coach also. Um, but I knew ultimately that I wanted to get to the seat I'm in now and be here at the NCAA level. And I viewed that as a necessary stepping stone in order to do that.
Of course, what was that transition like as a young coach coaching on the collegiate level as a head coach, being a few years older than those players?
Yeah, it was interesting. But I feel my hockey IQ and my knowledge of the game really stands out, and I feel like players know when somebody knows what they're talking about or when they're just kind of lying to them. And I feel that my players respected me just because I knew what I was talking about, and I know the game of hockey very well. Um, and so it was it was interesting. Um, and it can be kind of hard sometimes to draw that line between coach and friend, especially when you are so close in age with them. But it's necessary. And sometimes when you're that close in age with them, you have to have some tougher conversations just because you're they look at you as like you should be their friend instead of their coach. But yeah, that was like I said, it was a great experience to be a head coach for a little bit. And yeah,
While at Marquette, what were some of the things that you were able to accomplish as a head coach?
um, one of the big things that I was able to accomplish was helping, with our V2 head coach. Um, sorry, helping build the program back to for what it was. Um, so COVID at the time kind of tore it down just a little bit, not a whole lot. The head coach that the B2 team had was an alum, loved the program and kept it running during that time, and he he did great things. And just being able to kind of help build it back to where they have a high number of kids trying out every year was something I take a lot of pride in.
How was that transition like for you going from being a head coach at Marquette to coming to Lake Forest Foster and becoming assistant coach?
Yeah, so transitioning back to an assistant coach is kind of interesting, I guess. You don't have your hand in as much stuff, but our head coach is great here. He knows the game really well, and learning from him has been an amazing experience so far. And we're looking to build something here that our alums can be proud of, even more proud of than they already are. And hopefully put a few trophies in our trophy case within our lobby.
Coming to Lake Forest Foster, what was that experience like becoming an assistant coach and stepping on to the ice for the first time?
Yeah, for me personally, it was kind of a dream come true. I knew I wanted to get to this level. I thought it was going to take me, 10, 11 years. And then it happened a lot sooner than that. And, it was a dream come true. I finally got to have a job that, I completely fell in love with what I was doing. Um, the best part though is my family and my amazing fiance come to pretty much every game and every home game, and having them there to support me, um and having them there to help me realize my dream uh is is something that I probably take for granted more often than I should, and I probably don't say thank you enough to them for coming, just because sometimes the team has a bad game or whatever, and you're in your emotions at that time. But having having their support is it means everything to me. And actually, I remember when I got the job, going home and telling my mom, and I think she was a little bit more excited even than I was, because she got to see her son finally live out his second dream season. Um, um, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Of course, as a coach, what does that typical game day look like for you stepping into the ice rink?
Yeah, so it kind of depends. So Friday, a lot of the time we play a lot later than on Saturday. So Friday we typically play at like 7, um, and Saturday we typically play at like 4. Sometimes we do play at 7 then also. So then kind of is the same as Friday, but so a lot of the time it's getting here early in the day and going through our film that we're going to show our guys before the game, with our head coach, Coach O'Malley, um, going through going over our system, going over what the lineup's looking like that day, um, and then it's on to getting ready, getting the locker room set up for our guys, um, making sure that our guys are ready and mentally ready to go into battle. And then about 2 hours before the game, we tend to have a team meeting, which is where we show a lot of our film, that a lot of the systems that the other team's running, um, where we kind of get a few words in, where we go over what exactly it is that we're running that day, um, and then around 6 o'clock, I finally, I try to get a workout in there in the middle of the day too. Um, just kind of get my mind off of hockey for, even just a half hour. Um, and then around 6 o'clock, we start getting ready. We get the suit on and start getting ready to head over to the bench, and 7 p.m. puck drop, and that's when everything starts. So when we play earlier in the day starts even earlier. So it's that's kind of what a typical game day looks like for a coach at this level, at least here at Lake Forest. But yeah.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've started to help to build for the Lake Forest Fosters?
Yeah, so the culture that we're trying to build is one that, like I said, that our alums can be even more proud of than what they already are, and that is going to be successful in our extremely tough conference year after year. We want to end up being one of the top teams in the nation that's competing in the tournament year after year, and so that's kind of the culture that we're trying to build here.
Who are some of the
Uh,
teams in your conference that you compete against each week?
Yeah, so some of the teams in our conference, I mean, like I said, our conference is probably the toughest one, if not one of the toughest ones in the country when it comes to the Division 3 level. So we have Adrian, who's number 3 or 4 in the country right now. We have St. Norbert, who's number 10. We have Trine, who's number 11. We have Concordia, Marion, Aurora, who's always a tough opponent. We have the new one, Dubuque. They're up and coming. They're going to be a tough opponent year after year, also, just like the other ones that I've mentioned. I think I mentioned Lawrence, but I don't know. So we have a very tough conference. And I might have forgot one or two, but every team, every day in our conference is a battle, and you don't know who's going to win on any given night. For example, earlier this year, um, we played Shrine, and the first night they came ready to play. Then the next night the game went to overtime, and so you never know what you're going to get night in and night out. Because I feel that all the teams are really close. MSOE is another one that's always a tough opponent. But the whole conference in general is one of the toughest ones in the country, and it shows. And when we go play other teams non-conference, it shows.
Of course, what is that home game atmosphere like when teams like Trine comes to your home rink?
Yeah, so it's really nice. We're one of I think 4 schools that have our rink right on campus. So our atmosphere is right across the street from the dorms. So when football isn't in season, it can get pretty rowdy. We had the football team that had a few games this year, and it got loud. They really bring a lot of energy, a lot of they create that atmosphere that road teams don't want to have, and it really kind of energizes our guys to get them going.
What does that atmosphere look like away when going to teams like Adrian College?
Yeah, Adrian probably has one of the best atmospheres in the country. Um, they have a glass like box area right above the benches, where you've got fans chirping down from you from up there. You have their band who comes that starts playing. You have, it's almost a sellout crowd every night. So that atmosphere is amazing. And they're another one who has their rink right on campus. But um, you know, anywhere we go, the atmosphere is one of those that, like I said, you can tell that the play is one of the top in the country, and the fans really kind of drive that. Um, I of course am biased and feel that we have probably one of the best atmospheres in the in the country, but that's just me being biased. And we've got our rink is an older building, so it's really kind of cool. It's more of like a dome shape, and it's a really nice thing to be a part of.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to go into men's ice hockey?
Yeah, so that's actually a really timely question to be able to recruit on campus yesterday. So they typically will go on a tour on campus, and then they'll come over to the ice rink. We'll show them around the rink. We'll show them the locker room. We'll try to give them the best, feel of the atmosphere that we can. Typically, they'll have lunch with a player or two. They'll show them, where we work out also. They'll typically go sit in on a class or two. It's a lot of the same stuff that you see at pretty much every other school. But yeah, it's definitely it's a long process, especially with some of the leagues that we recruit out of. But when they come on campus, we definitely try to show them that we have some really great facilities here.
As a coach, what is it like getting to see those freshmen put on that red and black Lake Forest ice hockey jersey?
Yeah, so I'm gonna assume that next year it's gonna be a little bit different because it's gonna be the first recruiting class that I had my hands on. Um, but it was definitely special. We had a couple freshmen who were staples in our lineup this year, and when they first put on that red and black, it was really kind of special. Um, but like I said, I'm assuming that next year it's gonna feel a little bit different because it's gonna be the first recruiting class that I had my hands on. But it's special to see a freshman pull that jersey on to know that they're living out their dream and accomplishing the goal that they had, and that they're coming to such a great university like we have here at Lake Forest, both on the academic side and on the hockey side.
Of course, as a coach, what is it like getting to see those freshmen and even players get getting to achieve those big milestones like the hat tricks, like the first goals and the first assists?
Yeah, it's great, right? Because I know how I felt when I got my first college goal. So I know how they're probably feeling in that moment. And, it's a great thing to see. We had a couple kids get their first one this year. We had a couple kids get their first hat trick. So it was great to really kind of see that and see the excitement in their eyes and on their face when they did that.
What is that like as a coach getting to see those seniors put on that Lake Forest red and black jersey for the last time?
Yeah, like I said about the recruit question, that's a very timely question because this past weekend we just had senior day. Um, so it's very emotional. I didn't recruit any of them here, but getting to know the guys throughout the year and talk with them and build that bond and that relationship that you have with them. Um, Seeing them after the game also and talk with their parents and thanking their parents and everything and seeing how emotional they are. Um, we actually put our seniors out for the last shift of the game, and the bench just you know banging their sticks and kicking the boards and the crowd cheering as they step on the ice. I'd be lying if I didn't say that I had a tear or two come to my eye, right? So it's definitely emotional. And knowing that that's the last time that they're gonna step foot on that ice. Um, yeah, like I said, just emotional is the best way to explain it.
Of course, for those seniors, what is that like getting to see them score those last points, those last hat tricks, and those last assists as seniors?
Um, Probably kind of the same thing, right? So unfortunately, you never know when it's gonna be. So any goal, I'm any goal we score, I'm super fired up. I'm fist pumping. I'm whatever it is. I'm sitting there and I'm super excited just along with the guys, and I want to win probably just as bad, if not more, than they do. Um, so seeing those seniors score for the last time, you never know when it's gonna be. Um, so I can't really give you a definitive answer on that just because it's hard to tell when their last goal is gonna be.
As a coach, what is it like seeing your seniors put on that last Lake Forest jersey and their first professional jersey, whether it's in the NHL or ECHL?
Yeah, I haven't experienced that yet, unfortunately. I hope we have a couple guys that end up going on to play professionally, but that's up to them. Lake Forest overall though is such a great school that we have a lot of guys who go on to accomplish great things outside of hockey and um, make a lot of money doing things other than hockey. So it's our guys to play professional sometimes if it's not at NHL level is kind of hard for them to do. Um, but the day that comes, I'm sure it's going to be special, and I'll probably, if we're not playing, we won't be because they're playing professionally, right, and their season's over. I'll probably be making that trip to go see them. Yeah,
As a coach, what is it like getting to see your players live out their dreams of playing in the NHL or even getting into coaching?
yeah. Again, like I kind of like with that last question. I haven't been able to see that yet. I do have actually a couple kids that when I was coaching juniors who have gone on to coach, and um, knowing that that's something they want to do, it's great. It makes you feel proud, especially like I said, having built a bond with them and knowing that they're living out their dream. It's amazing. Um, just kind of proud and I mean, for lack of a better term, kind of like a dad, right? Where they're, you've got that proud feeling of them in your stomach and in your heart, where you're like, yes, they're living out their dream and they're doing what they want to do.
What are some of your future plans for the Lake Forest Fosters men's ice hockey program?
Yeah, so that's kind of a tough one, right? I mean, everybody has the same goal at the beginning of the year, right? It's to win the conference, win a national title. So kind of to put those ones aside, the biggest goal I have is just to help build a program here that the alumni are even more proud of to support than they already are. That the alumni can say, yep, I played there. I was a part of that. Um, the kind of things like that. I mean, the easy answer, of course, is obviously to say hang more banners, put some more trophies in the trophy case. But a more in-depth answer is just saying to build a program and help build a program that the alumni are just insanely happy to say they were a part of.
What advice would you have those incoming freshmen entering their first year of college men's ice hockey?
Yeah, for incoming freshmen, just know it's different, right? It's different than juniors. In juniors, you've got, you're not really doing school. You're not really going to school. You have to balance school and hockey again, like you did in high school. And it's much harder now because hockey's more of like a job. Um, but it's still fun, you know. So just to understand that you have to do both school and hockey, right? And the biggest piece of advice is just live in the moment. This is going to be the best time of your life, but just live in the moment. Don't try to rush through it. Don't try to just push through it. Live in the moment and soak it all in because it was the greatest. I was lucky. I got 5 years of college because I had an extra year of eligibility. And I was a dual major, so I got 5 years, and I would go back and do it again in a heartbeat, and live it all over all again. Um, so just live in the moment and enjoy it, and enjoy putting in that work and coming to the rink. And don't think of it as I have to go to the rink. Think of it as I get to go to the rink because only I think the stat is only like 1% of hockey players end up getting to play after high school. So just knowing that you're part of that, you're part of that number, that 1%. Just live in the moment, enjoy it, be happy that you're here, and take it all in.
What advice would you give those college hockey players looking to play professional hockey, whether it's in the NHL or the ECHL?
Yeah, looking to play professionally. No matter my biggest piece of advice is no matter what level it is, if that opportunity comes, take it. I had the opportunity, offered to me, and I didn't turn it down, but I told them to let me think, and then 2020, it was in 2020, and so then everything happened and it got taken away from me. So I didn't have that opportunity. My next biggest piece of advice is you better be ready to put in the work though. If you're coming in telling me, I haven't, I want to play after I graduate college, okay, well then I'm going to hold you to a standard where you're going to come in and you're going to work and you're going to achieve that, but you need to know that you're going to put in the work every day to do that.
What advice would you give those assistant coaches looking to get started in coaching in college men's ice hockey?
Yeah, my biggest piece of advice for people looking to get into coaching is do it. Whatever level it is, know it's going to be a grind. Know it's going to be long hours. Know um, it's going to be stressful. And just know that it's a grind, and you'll get there eventually, and just take it all in as you go. Don't try to rush. Don't try to push through everything. Take everything in, live in the moment. Um, Learn something every day, right? And and my biggest piece is know that you're not always going to be the smartest person in the room. And that was told to me by one of my really close friends and mentors who he's coaching right now. And the biggest piece of advice he ever gave me was just know you're not the smartest person in the room every single time. And I feel that helped me get to where I am today. And that's the biggest piece of advice that I have for people looking to get into coaching is just knowing that you're not always the smartest person in the room. And when it comes to I want to start coaching, just do it, right? And where you're meant to end up, it'll happen eventually. It'll probably take a lot of time and a lot of grinding, but it'll happen. So just do it, and you'll be happy in the long run.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Lake Foster Forest men's ice hockey program?
Yeah, I have social media, but I'm not on it very much. So Lake Forest men's ice hockey. Let me get the exact handle for you. It is on Instagram. It is LFCM hockey. And that's kind of the big one that we use is Instagram mainly because that's where a lot of people are now. We do have Facebook, we do have Twitter, but we post a lot of stuff on Instagram. Me personally, I don't post much. I don't have much on there, so I'm not gonna necessarily give it out. If you just look up my name, you'll probably find me because I'll probably be the only one with that name. But yeah, it's for Lake Forest hockey, it's LFCM hockey, and just as simple as that.
Thank you again, Coach Samuel, for your interview, and best of luck in your future at Lake Forest Foster as the men's ice hockey assistant coach.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It was great.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Samuel, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.